Hello again. Welcome to this video today about unboxing a MP3 player. The year at the moment is 2023. We've just entered, and I would hazard a guess that this player is around 20 years old, maybe slightly more or slightly less. I picked it up actually in a charity shop or thrift shop, as you like to call them in the States, and I have no idea about the branding on this or anything like that. It's totally sealed, as you can see. A lot of these devices came out in the late 1990s and into the early 2000s, and they were very popular because of the size of them and the fact that you could store quite a few files depending on the size of the players. Now this one is touted as being 1 gigabyte, which was quite a lot, I would imagine. So if we go back to that sort of time scale, I would imagine it's probably a early sort of 2000s player and not a late sort of 1990s player. And the other reason why I think it's probably not a 1990s player is it's got support for Windows Media Audio as well as MP3, which obviously was around for a lot of the 1990s. So this player is called a digital MP3 WMA audio player, and it's got support for equalizer function, repeat function, USB flash disk, which is at the standard 2.0, and it says no need to install driver except for Windows 98. So this would have come out in the early 2000s, I would say, because people still had Windows 98 on their desktop PCs. It's going to be blue by the looks of it, even though it's got a selection there in red. Let's open this up and see what we have. It's quite exciting because it's been quite a while since I've opened anything new on my channel, and this is what you could say new old stock. Let's get rid of the cellophane, and how does it open? Oh, okay, opens like that. Never been opened. Rusting there actually. Okay, I guess it's magnetic. Yeah, so that's quite snazzy, but it's obviously been stored in a loft or somewhere, or outside even, in a garage. And does this look like anything I had before? So I had quite a few MP3 players back in the day, and also the early sort of portable CD players that played MP3 files as well. I'm just going to get the player out first. Now this is very typical of what was around at that time, and it looks like it's a little bit sticky. It's coming off my hand actually. It looks like it's got that sort of plastic that was used on some of the Sony mobile phones that also got a bit sticky after age. There we go. So it says digital MP3 player 1 gigabyte. So we can test that shortly and make sure it is. It looks like it's got a microphone in here as well. I don't think it mentioned that on the box. This one allows you to record audio, I would say. Yeah, it's got a record button there. Is that a menu button? And then selection there, and volume here, and a hold. And it's got the play, pause and stop all on one button there. Oh, it's a shame it's a little bit sort of sticky, but it's even got a little screen protector there. So it's got USB there, standard, which is really good actually, because it means that you don't have to carry an extra wire around. So this is obviously a little bit later, I would say, and the battery would pop in there, and it's got a QC pass. So let's just close that a sec and look in the box. Now this is not unexpected, is it? There's a manky battery. Let's get rid of that battery and get a new one to replace it. And we'll also have a look here. So they've actually provided as well an extension lead for the USB. So you could actually plug it into the computer with a bit of a lead, which is useful, I suppose, because a lot of PCs, the earlier ones, didn't have USB ports at the front, and they would have USB ports on the back of the computer. So you wanted to obviously have an extension here so you could get access to that. And then it's got sort of bog standard headphones here. I don't think they've got capability of mic or anything, or have they? Let's have a look. No, I don't think so. Before I put a new battery in here and try using this, I'm going to try to give this a bit of a clean. So just take this kind of surface layer off that's got all tacky, because it's only going to attract dirt and leave a bit of a residue. So I'm just using like a wet wipe here, and I could also, if I've got some nails, just take this protective screen cover off. Right, there you go. Oh, it looks quite snazzy. And it's got this sort of plastic tackiness all over. I won't really know if that's helped until this dries, so I'll leave that to dry for a minute. So this is the driver disc, and it's the small size CDs that they tended to use quite a lot around that time as well for things. And I wonder if it will tell us actually who made it. Let's have a look. So to observe the functions, there's your standard 3.5mm earphone or headphone connection. As I saw earlier, there's a microphone there. There's also a little bit in there so we can hook the I think there's probably a hook on the headphones actually, or you could put like a little strap into there. There's also the hold switch, the volume control. Obviously we've got the display there with the play, pause and stop. On this side there's a record button. I said menu, but it's in fact a mode, so that will toggle between what you want to do. And there's the previous and next there. Turn off, stop and pause, it says. And that's kind of put into that one, but there's no line going across, but that's what that means. Okay. The pages are somewhat stuck together. So we've got various settings here: play music, voice, we've got EQ setting, normal, rock, jazz, classical, pop and bass, play mode, normal, repeat, all, repeat one, so repeat once, random, random all, and preview, so I guess it plays a few seconds of each track. There's a contrast, it just says on, so maybe the display can be dimmed slightly. There's a power set mode here. Well, there's a backlight. That's interesting. Perhaps it's got a backlight. We'll find out in a minute. So it's got power set, disable, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. So it will switch itself off. There's also the frequency for the recording here. So we're up at standard sort of levels here at 44, 100 Hertz and 48,000 Hertz. Okay. Language. So European support by looks for English, German, French and Dutch. We've got backlight colour as well, so that makes it even more snazzy. Record, no it says. Delete, about, no. Exit. So as far as it goes, this looks to be one of the better manuals in terms of translation to English. It talks about what it can support in terms of audio format, and it's good to see it can support MP3s up to 320 kilobits per second. So that would be probably the minimum that you would like to have these days, although it would have obviously added to the amount of space required for each song, so you would have had less songs. Probably back in the day you would have been putting 128 kilobyte songs on there, just so you could have got quite a few on. Okay. That's the manual, quite comprehensive. Let's put a battery in then. And let's just stick that on there a sec. Let's give it. At least they didn't leave the battery inside. We're going to find out if it's even got anything standard on it. So that's. Oh, it can go on both ways, but let's power it up. Yeah, this looks like a file, well, like an MP3 player that I used to have. It looks different in design, but the menu looks reasonable. So it's got a play music mode. Oh, and then we can shift along. Play recordings, settings, and record, and delete. About. Let's see what it says. It says a version 3.200.901. INT is the memory, 1024 megabytes, 945 megabytes free, and that's all we're going to get from there, I think. Navigation. No MP3. Okay, so normally they used to leave like the odd track on there, didn't they? But there's nothing on there at all. So let's try recording something. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3. We've got something on that. So the audio is being saved as a WAV file. And because I didn't go into settings, I don't know what specification it's recording in. So let's see if I can just play that back. It's playing something back, but we need headphones to hear it. Try again. I'm going to put this into my ear actually and see how clear it sounds. Sounds like there's some background noise to it on the record, so it definitely is something that you wouldn't want to record music or concerts or something worthwhile. You just wouldn't want to use this because one, you're going to be recording in mono, and it seems to be almost generating an industrial type hum at the same time. So that's probably something that you wouldn't want to do, but it's a useful feature to have. And I guess that's why it's got DVR there. So DVR is not digital video recorder, it's digital voice recorder, as well as being MP3 WMA Windows Media Audio Player. And I'm going to put some music on this from some of my MP3s I've got on my computer just here. Oh, it's got this backlight colour. And let's go into here and just, I'm going to make it white. There you go, it's just a bit easier to see now. Let's try plugging it in. This looks to be the folder that it creates by default when you do a recording with the microphone. So music, I'm just going to put into this new folder. Quite slow copying over. So straight away it says in here Hi-Fi Stars of CCTV, and it's got the time, the length of the track, 3 minutes 44 seconds, and it's just scrolling along, so that looks hopeful. It sounds like I've had it quite loud, doesn't it? Let's pull these down. And I'm going to put them into my ears now. So I'm turning it down, and the quality, I would say, is like listening into a bucket, a tin bucket, so not great. I'm going to go to EQ, and I'm going to try the other settings. Bass is terrible. Well, they're all terrible. Rock is probably the best one. I'm going to go and get some decent headphones. So I've got some very cheap Sonys here that I think were under £10, and I'm sure they're going to be a huge difference. Let's try putting those in my ears. And try again. So it's basically resumed from the place I stopped, so that's good. That's much better. Just reading about the chip used in this MP3 player. So it developed by Sigma, and it would have gone back to around the early 2000s, 2004, where they were making lots of these chips, system on a chips, and they were being used in MP3 players all over the world. So this happens to have one of those, and it's likely that it's got the STMP35XX chip inside of here. And reading on Wikipedia, it actually mentions that using this chip, you didn't need external RAM, voltage converters, battery chargers, headphone capacitors, analog to digital converters or digital to analog converters or amplifiers, and 150 portable audio product models were actually made, and that was between 2002 to 2006, and they sold 150 million of these devices. So this is one of 150 million with that chip inside. So I think it'd be quite interesting actually to open this up and have a look and just see what is inside the thing. So it'd be good if someone could put in the comments what limitations they had in terms of, could you store lots of folders of different albums, and could it allow you to browse properly through the settings of the player and pick the right tracks out? Because I know that some of these earlier ones, they didn't tolerate the folders particularly well, or they didn't present the folder structure and you just had a massive list of all your songs basically. Okay, so only 2 screws so far, and it looks like it wants to pop out. It's got to be a little bit careful. It's probably just needs a bit of prying out here. I'm trying to use my nail this time. Oh, there we go. And there we are. So we've just got the buttons mounted on the PCB here. We can see the microphone here and the socket for the headphones. That looks pretty decent actually. They made a lot of these, didn't they? So there's more screws holding this in for the screen. Pull that away and see what it says. It's quite incredible here. You've got the USB support this end and the power directly feeding into the board. There's a little sticker there on the chip. Just take that off. So that's your little sticker that's got a mark on. It looks like it's just a quality passed sticker, a QC passed. It says 07V11. That's the board version, I think. Oh, I'll take these screws out to have a look at it, and I'll wipe this off. This sticker, this quality pass sticker, is a little bit tricky to get off. I'm not going to scratch it off. I'll use some alcohol on it, I think. So just using a little bit of alcohol to get this sticker off if I can, or at least part of the sticker off. It really is stuck on there, and I'm just using as much alcohol as I can get away with on the top here, trying to get this off without scratching underneath, which would defeat the object because we obviously want to make out the whole of the model number. It took a while to get the sticker off. It was really stuck on well, but it seems to be a STMP 3507 chip, and I've added a picture to the video so you can see for yourself. So I've taken the other screws out. Now I should better pull the whole thing out. Amazing. Let's put that there. And yeah, we've got the other button here. So this is your main power on button. Play, pause, stop, that type of thing. And there's one more component on the board underneath the screen. You can see it's just glued in with hot glue. It looks like it's got a model number here. So quite a few surface mount components dotted around. But nevertheless, they were making these in their millions, hundreds of millions. I hope that's been interesting for you, interesting video. I'll get this assembled now and make sure that it still works. So, back together, assembled, fine, and ready for some action. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll do some more videos in the future. Bye for now.